Haven't had a chance to congratulate my elder brother _1 lease. No, I prefer not to join in on the excitement. Wei Ruo could easily guess what kind of bustling scene awaited outside. At this moment, everyone would undoubtedly be congratulating Wei Chen. She preferred not to attend this celebration. After some thought, Wei Ruo said, My, go outside and check if Zhao Hai's brother has passed the examination. All right, I'll go now. Xiaomei accepted Wei Ruo's command and left. She returned with good news an hour later. Zhao family's second young master has also passed, but he placed quite low, at the second to last place, Xiaomei said. As long as he passed. Given his health condition, it was already not easy for him to participate in the examination smoothly. Making it onto the list is cause for great celebration, Wei Ruo remarked. Zhao Zun's success was beyond Wei Ruo's expectation. That the initially moribund man not only survived but also achieved such accomplishment after an initial recovery from a severe illness was uncommonly rare. Additionally, Xiu family's young master also passed, and his position is relatively high. I counted, and he is in 20th place, Xiaomei added. The final results will have to wait until after the palace examination. Let's see, Wei Ruo said. After the palace examination, the final rankings would still see some changes. The top 3 comprising of the top scholar, second-place scholar, and third-place scholar are referred to as successful candidates. The second rank is referred to as born a successful candidate and the third rank is referred to as also born a successful candidate. The successful candidates would immediately be given posts. The second and third ranks would participate in an examination at the Hanlin Academy, where they would study for 3 years before being given posts. Apart from Wei Ruo, there was one other person in the house that had not gone to congratulate Wei Chen in the front courtyard. Wei Qingwan did not lack willingness, but rather dared not go. Wei Chen was the top scholar of the imperial exam, and without a doubt, his ranking after the palace examination would not be low either. Even if he was not the top scholar, second place, or third place, he should be able to rank in the second category, and he was likely to accomplish something in the future. However, the brighter Wei Chen's prospects appeared, the more anxious Wei Qingwan felt. Sitting at the dressing table, staring at herself in the bronze mirror, her eyes revealed sorrow and desolation. Miss, don't worry. It's been so long. Perhaps the young master has ceased to be angry, Tsuehe comforted her. Wei Qingwan's voice fell. How do you know he has let it go? I'm afraid he hasn't. He might even be holding a grudge against me. Miss, please don't say those discouraging words. After all, you and the young master share more than a decade's worth of affection. This isn't something that can be erased so easily. In the end, he isn't my biological brother, and won't be as forgiving towards me as before, Wei Qingwan said. Miss, however, outsiders don't know that young master isn't your biological brother. As long as the young master doesn't sever ties, he will always be your support. This will smooth a lot of things for you at the Qingyu residence, Maid Tsuehe gently reminded. A woman's family's position and power after marriage were crucial. If she had a powerful family, her in-laws would naturally respect her more. How could I not know that? Stop talking about it, I have my own plans. Weary, Wei Qingwan shut Maid Tsuehe and the outside clamor out of her mind. The 1st of April. The emperor bestowed the title of King Rui upon the 9th prince, Chu Yi, and granted him a residence on Suzaku Street, which was close to the imperial city and convenient for commuting to and from there. The enfeoffment ceremony was even grander than that of the 6th and 7th princes last year, which once again proved the emperor's extraordinary affection for Prince Chu Yi. Unfortunately, due to his frail health and short life expectancy asserted by the imperial physician, he could not participate in the fight for the throne, nor could he shake the status of the other princes. The emperor's love for him, no matter how great, was momentary and could not last. April 11th, Palace Examination. Wei Chen was selected as the top scholar by the emperor, Xiu Fengyuan ranked in the second category, known as born a successful candidate, and Zhao Zun in third, known as also born a successful candidate. Although everyone knew that Wei Chen's performance would not be far off when he achieved a high score in the examination, and even if he didn't rank in the first category, he had a high probability of ranking in the second category. The probability of him becoming the top scholar was also high. But when it was officially announced that Wei Chen was the new top scholar, a wave of excitement surged through the Wei family. The old master was so delighted he nearly fainted. In the days that followed, the Duke residence was bustling with activity. The courtyard was filled with visitors. Even those who had not visited the loyal and righteous Duke's residence in many years all came to express their congratulations. This influence affected everyone in the residence when they went out, too. It was much easier for Wei Mingyong to negotiate business, and the treatment he received was worlds apart from before. Bai's family received numerous invitations from some influential madams to participate in various banquets and gatherings. A few days ago, because 2 girls from the Duke residence were going to marry into the royal family, the ladies of Bai's family began to interact with the madams of other large families. But at that time, those noble madams still somewhat belittled the loyal and righteous Duke's residence. Now, Bai's family could finally hold their heads high. With a nephew who was a top scholar, Bai's family felt as though they were standing straighter. Conversely, Mo's family, who was the wife of the crown prince of the Duke residence, and Yun's family, Wei Chen's biological mother, were more low-key at this time. Mo's family was serene by nature and always acted low-key. Whether in times of disregard or favoritism, their demeanor remained the same. Yun's family, on the other hand, were worried that such high-profile actions would invite trouble. They knew that although the Duke residence was on the rise, its foundation was not yet stable and should not be complacent. After half a month, the excitement gradually faded, and Wei Chen finally found some peace. Wei Chen had just returned from outside and was crossing the garden when he was called. "Big brother." Hearing the voice, Wei Chen stopped. Seeing Wei Chen waiting for her, Wei Qingwen's heart leapt with joy, and she quickly walked up to him. "Big brother, after you ranked first, I didn't have a chance to congratulate you." As she spoke, Wei Qingwen presented the food box before Wei Chen. Wei Chen didn't reach out, so Wei Qingwen opened the food box and said, "Big brother, this osmanthus cake is made using the osmanthus flowers I picked when you took the provincial examination last year. You always loved the cakes that I made. I wonder if you would like to taste my baking skills again." Wei Qingwen's voice was soft, her head lowered as she finished her sentence, then gently raised it again. Her eyes, full of anticipation and caution, glistened as she gazed at Wei Chen. In her heart, Wei Qingwen felt uneasy. What she gave to Wei Chen was not only an osmanthus cake. It was also their beautiful memories from past times. Big brother used to cherish her a lot and enjoyed the cakes she made herself. Every time she brought him an osmanthus cake, he would praise her for it. He also promised that he would enjoy her handmade osmanthus cake as a reward if he scored high in the exam. The osmanthus honey used in it had to be made from the osmanthus flowers she picked. She had made it as she had promised him. She wondered whether it could evoke his brotherly affection for her. Meeting Grandpa and Lise, in the Marquise Manor, not a single word could be heard, and all the servants who came to pay their respects to her were especially gracious, offering their greetings with deference. There wasn't any discussion about her within the Marquise Manor, and with Su Hao constantly by her side, Wu Jinyan's tense heart gradually relaxed. Yet she still felt some unease. "Su Hao, this child's origins are uncertain, and if old General Su minds his existence and opposes us, what was she to do?" Previously, Su Yingxue and Su Hao had created an atmosphere of a unified Su family, with a vision unique and enlightened like theirs, and Su Han was no different. It was then that her mood had lightened, and she had agreed to return with Su Hao. But as soon as she stepped into the Marquise Manor, the majestic and solemn atmosphere weighed heavy on her heart. Su Hao had yet to tell Wu Jinyang about the plan he and Su Yingxue had, but he wasn't one to lie, so he lowered his gaze and spoke in a deep voice, "Let's go see grandfather first, we shouldn't keep the old man waiting." As they spoke, they had already reached the front hall. The doors were wide open, the fragrance was inviting, and the 5-meter-tall dragon-carved columns displayed the Marquise Manor's grandeur. In the lofty hall, Su Qingji and 2 elder members of the Su clan were seated with dignity above. A seat had been left empty for Su Dingheng. Su Yingxue stood between the 3 elders, respectfully serving tea. Even as the 9th princess consort, with extreme honor, she still showed respect to Su Qingji and the elders. Wu Jinyan's palms began to sweat with nervousness as she approached the doorway. The faces of Su Qingji and the two elder members did not look too good. They sat not just with dignity but also with a solemn gravity. Su Hao also sensed something amiss, probably because of Wu Jinyan's pregnancy. She had deliberately worn loose clothing that day, which under normal circumstances wouldn't reveal much, but since the news had leaked, this outfit was in vain. But having come this far, Su Hao took Wu Jinyang by the hand and stepped forward to pay respects to Su Qingji. Grandson pays respects to grandfather. Grandfather, this is Jinyang, my fiancé, Su Hao said, holding Wu Jinyan's arm to signal her to greet Su Qingji. Jinyang pays respects to grandfather, and to the two clan elders, she greeted them with a voice gentle and warm, which should have suggested a shy demeanor. However, Su Qingji was the first to speak up. Are you already carrying Hao's child? Wu Jinyang stiffened, a chill spreading up from her legs. She had not expected Su Qingji to ask her such a question upon their first meeting. Subconsciously, she protected her stomach, a difficult emotion creeping into her heart, a complex mix of feelings within. If she were to say no, the child wasn't Su Hao's, considering old General's stance, he'd likely have her thrown out of the Marquis of Marshall South's manor immediately. But could she lie to him? She could not. Her nature and upbringing wouldn't allow her to make such a response. Wu Jinyang bit her tightly sealed lips until they bled. Before she could speak, Su Hao had already answered for her. Yes, grandfather, it was my momentary foolishness that led to Jinyan's pregnancy. Now, I have brought Jinyang to pay respects to grandfather and the clan elders, in the hope that you will consent, allowing me to expedite our wedding, to provide her and our unborn child legitimate status. After saying this, Su Hao kowtowed with a respectful and sincere attitude. The two Su family elders looked gravely serious, while Su Qingji slammed his hand on the table. Su Hao, you're creating a ruckus. Have you completely forgotten all the upbringing the old man has given you? The former Su Hao had filled Su Qingji with immense pride, hadn't he? Disagree with the marriage proposal lease, though he was raised without the guidance of parents, he grew to be exceptionally outstanding and correct, never once making a mistake. In the past year, first, he bullied Lu Ying, then made a mistake on the battlefield, and got Wu Jinyang pregnant before marriage. Su Qingji's face turned ashen. Do you know that you have completely disgraced me? Su Hao knelt upright, his face etched with guilt. Grandson acknowledges his fault, grandfather, and will have no complaints regardless of the punishment, but please grant your permission for my marriage to Jinyang. Su Hao shouldered everything alone, and the grim expression on Su Qingji's face made Wu Jinyang realize that his punishment was unlikely to be light. Her heart tremored violently, and the guilt inside her curled up bit by bit. Old General, actually, this matter shouldn't be blamed on Su Hao, it's my. She subconsciously wanted to admit that the child was her fault, not Su Hao's. Yet Su Hao clasped her hand tightly. Jinyang, what has happened, leave it to me to bear. The pure black of his pupils reflected her image, and the scorching warmth of his palm gave her an immense sense of security. Wu Jinyan's heart was overwhelmed with ache. She bit her lip fiercely, her face turned pale, and her lips bled from the biting. For Su Hao's efforts, she knelt beside him in front of Su Qingji, earnestly saying, Old General, I am to blame. The reputation of the Marquis of Marshall South's manor has been damaged, and I have no means to make amends for now, but as Su Hao's fiancé, I will certainly share the responsibility with him. No matter what the future holds, I will stand by his side. If you must punish, please allow me to be punished alongside him. Although she is a woman, she is Su Hao's, and no matter what adversity or punishment they must face, she wants to bear it with Su Hao. Jinyang. A smile broke across Su Hao's lips, unable to hide his excitement. Su Qingji was not so unreasonable. He feigned sternness to give Wu Jinyang a way out in front of the clan elders. Still, he was very pleased with Wu Jinyang's performance. He sighed in feigned helplessness, truly a disgrace of a descendant. Then, he turned to look at Su Qinghe, the most influential among the two clan elders. My cousin's opinion has always been of great importance in the Su family. I wonder what you think about the marriage of these two young ones. Can it be sanctioned? Su Qinghe was known for his gravity and strict adherence to rules, with a strong focus on family hierarchy. Originally, he would definitely not support Su Hao's marriage to Wu Jinyang. After all, Su Hao was the most excellent child of the younger generation in the Su family, and in the future, he was to inherit the title and uphold the honor of the entire Su family and the Marquis of Marshall South's manor, a matter that concerned the entire clan. His wife would definitely have to be a lady of noble birth. But now, he had gotten Wu Jinyang pregnant, and rumblings had already begun to stir on the streets. If Su Hao didn't marry Wu Jinyang, the Su family's honor was sure to be completely lost. Who knows how long they would be slandered by the public. However, Wu Jinyang's status was simply too humble. Su Qingyi's expression was grave. If he were my grandson, I would stop this marriage at all costs, but since Su Hao is your grandson, we clan members can only suggest. The final decision lies with you. But from what I see, if Miss Wu becomes the young madam of the manor, in the future, she absolutely must not engage in business publicly. This will not only disgrace the manor but also make outsiders criticize our Su family, saying we rely on a woman to support us. No need to rush this matter, let's wait until the child is born. Su Qingyi stroked his beard. Since my cousin agrees, I think we should start arranging for their marriage to avoid any gossip about our Su family being irresponsible. So fond of this child lease, Su Qinghe finally realized that Su Qingyi had been very satisfied with his granddaughter-in-law long ago. Having them come here was just to give a gentle persuasion, merely a formality. Feeling discontented yet helpless, he said, "You watch over your grandson. Just make sure he doesn't disgrace our Su family. Cousin, rest assured." Su Qingyi smiled with a curve of his lips. Another elder of the clan, standing beside Su Qinghe, was also caught between laughter and tears. Su Qingyi had sent Su Yingxue to entertain the two of them, leaving Wu Jinyang and Su Hao behind. Su Qingyi glared at Su Hao. "Why are you still kneeling? Help your madam up." "Grandfather?" Su Hao was somewhat surprised. "Aren't you going to punish me first?" "You foolish thing. Punishing you doesn't mean punishing my granddaughter-in-law and great-grandson. Do you expect your old grandfather to help them up personally?" Su Qingyi glared, observing that Su Hao lacked the cleverness and cunning of Su Yingxue, not fully inheriting the good genes of Long Shuli, and even failed to understand the situation head carefully arranged. When it came to social sensibilities, he was indeed a bit slow. The old general invited the two clan elders here to have us kneel and admit our wrongs with sincere attitudes that was for them to see so as to gain the approval of the elders in the Su clan. It seems related to being entered into the family pedigree and ancestral temple. The old general didn't really intend to punish us, Wu Jinyang said softly, her voice gentle, having gleaned Su Qingyi's painstaking efforts from the conversation between him and Su Qinghe. At this moment, she looked at Su Qingyi with respect and gratitude. This old general not only possessed an authoritative presence but also was incredibly attentive to detail. Su Qingyi nodded at Wu Jinyang with great satisfaction. "After all, a miss who has made her own way understands much more than my foolish grandson." When Su Qingyi looked at Wu Jinyang, his eyes were filled with affection as if looking at his own granddaughter. Though it was his first time meeting Wu Jinyang, from Su Hao and Su Yingxue's descriptions, as well as what he had learned on his own, he had deduced that Wu Jinyang was a very good girl. Though her background was humble, her ability to stand on her own 2 feet was already very impressive. She had a resolve that was not inferior to that of Su Yingxue and was somewhat like Long Shuli's child. Su Hao stood up happily. "Thank you, grandfather. Since you have already persuaded the clan elders and agreed to the marriage between me and Jinyang, please help us set the wedding date and arrange the ceremony. I wish to bring Jinyang into my home as my legitimate wife this very morning." "What's the rush? Haven't I taught you all these years to be more steady?" Su Qingyi scolded Su Hao with a stern face. Su Hao calmed himself and patiently explained, "Grandson is indeed a bit anxious, but it concerns the child in Jinyang's belly. I do not know who leaked the news, and now with Jinyang still living in Thousand Jiao Pavilion, she has to endure many rumors. I am also unable to fully look after her and the child. If she can enter the Marquise manor sooner, both she and the child will be better cared for." If it's for the child, I won't blame you for being anxious." Su Qingyi's eyes softened significantly as he gestured to Wu Jinyang. Come closer, let your old grandfather have a look at the little great-grandson." Wu Jinyan's heart trembled slightly, her face paled. This child wasn't Su Hao's, and the old General Su liked him so much. She stood motionless, lost in thought, with an even worse complexion. Seeing this, Su Qingji frowned. What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Is there something wrong with the child? Su Hao, have you had your sister check on her? Have to deceive Lise, Su Hao glanced at Wu Jinyang and knew that she was feeling distressed because of the child's origins. He wrapped his arm around Wu Jinyan's waist, leading her forward, and gently persuaded in her ear, Grandpa is calling you, he wants to see his great-grandchild. But, having walked up to Su Qingji, Wu Jinyan's hands were sweating with nerves. You don't have to be afraid. Although I may not look very kindly, I'm not as stern with my great-grandchild as I am with his father. Raising children is your and your husband's business. I'm old now, I just want to be a great-grandfather who dotes on his great-grandchild. Seeing Wu Jinyan's nervous face, Su Qingji tried his best to soften his expression to ease her mind. The more he tried, the more Wu Jinyang felt like crying. Tears overflowed from her eyes. Old General, I'm sorry. Crying? Have I frightened you? If you don't like it, I will stop insisting. There will be plenty of time for me to hold the child once you've given birth. A flicker of regret passed through Su Qingji's eyes, but he waved his hand, signaling Su Hao to take Wu Jinyang out. After the two of them left, Su Qingji called Su Yingxue over, clearly upset as he asked her, your new sister-in-law seems very afraid of Grandpa, what should I do? Su Yingxue was confused. Why would she be afraid of Grandpa? Grandpa is so adorable. Su Yingxue gently pinched Su Qingji's face, sticking out her tongue playfully. Just now, when I wanted to see her and the great-grandchild, she didn't dare to come closer. I've almost gotten a cramp from smiling. What do you suppose is going on? Su Qingji had used every trick in the book to secure Su Hao's marriage to Wu Jinyang, but now he hadn't even caught a glimpse of his great-grandson, and it troubled his old heart. Fart. Perhaps Grandpa has upset the image she had of you in her mind? Grandpa, you are a great hero revered by our generation. How dare ordinary people look at you so casually, let alone approach you? Su Yingxue heaped praise until Su Qingji was beaming with delight. He patted Su Yingxue on the head, you're so clever. Look at your brother, all tongue-tied. I don't know how he managed to charm a girl like her. Ha ha ha. Grandpa, brother is being wrongly accused. You have no idea how many girls in Jiangdu City wish to become my sister-in-law. They would line up enough times to circle the Marquise Manor, Su Yingxue said, winking mischievously. Humph. It's only because he has given me the joy of a great-grandson. Otherwise, he is still of little use. With a great-grandson on the way, Su Qingji's face was filled with smiles. Although premarital pregnancy was against the rights and could damage the Marquise Manor's reputation, Su Qingji had already embraced the ideas instilled by Long Shuli, and he wasn't so rigid anymore. To him now, the great-grandson was of the utmost importance. He took Su Yingxue's hand and patted it. Since your highness is still busy in the military camp these days, you should take good care of your sister-in-law and the child. The child is carrying the Su family's bloodline, and we must not let anything happen to him. Don't worry, Grandpa, Su Yingxue agreed readily. But as Su Qingji further inquired about the child's situation, looking forward to Wu Jinyan's child, her heart became somewhat heavy. For Su Hao and Wu Jinyan's sake, she had to deceive her grandfather this one time. Once Su Qingji had agreed to the marriage, the preparations began in the manor. Su Yingxue also sent for Qin Wan and Madame Yin to help. When Su Han returned from the shop late in the evening, he immediately started planning the wedding. Not simple Lise. When sending Wu Jinyang off at night, Su Yingxue was in the carriage, patting her hand gently. Sister Jinyang, be at ease. Grandfather likes you very much, and he will arrange the marriage soon. After you marry my brother, the rumors in the city will naturally be dispelled. Wu Jinyang lifted the corners of her lips. Yingxue, thank you. I know how well the Marquise Manor has treated me. In the entire Marquis of Marshall South's manor, from top to bottom, from old General Su to Su Yingxue to Su Han, there wasn't a single person who wasn't kind to her. Even the youngest girl, Su Miaoyan, shoved a piece of candy into her palm when she was leaving, saying it was for the little nephew. Such thoughtful treatment moved her deeply. But it made her feel even more guilty. The child in her womb was not Su Hao's, and whenever she thought about deceiving the kind-hearted Su family members like this, her heart ached indescribably. Su Hao escorted Wu Jinyang back to her room and stayed to chat with her for a while. Su Yingxue, on the other hand, returned to the Marquise Manor to inquire about the results Jilan had found. Jilan poured her a cup of tea, standing by her side. "Miss, I have checked. The rumors did not originate from within the manor, they were heard by people who went shopping in the street. It's unlikely that someone from our manor is eavesdropping. If it's people outside, what is their purpose, and who are they taking orders from?" Su Yingxu's thumb and index finger held the teacup, her eyes filled with seriousness. "Miss, do you think this matter is complicated? It might be targeting our Marquise Manor, or it could be against you or your highness." Jilan thoughtfully analyzed the situation. Having been with Su Yingxue for a long time, her knowledge and abilities had naturally improved. Understanding the intricacies of affairs, nothing related to the Marquise Manor was ever simple. Especially at this crucial time, with the Emperor's influence waning and the high call for the 9th Prince's ascension to the throne, it was a delicate moment, vulnerable to any careless disturbance. Jilan's thoughts were not lost on Su Yingxue, who had already an inkling as an image flashed through her mind. Has Lu Ying had any abnormalities in the manor these past few days, or been in contact with anyone? "Miss Lu." Jilan's eyes shifted. There hasn't been anything unusual these past 2 days. Apart from paying respects to Master daily, she spent most of her time recuperating. Yesterday, she went to the military camp to visit her father. "Has anyone been sent to follow her?" Su Yingxue pressed. "No, Miss Lu is an esteemed guest in the manor. Master has ordered us to treat her with the utmost respect, and besides, her martial arts are not weak. If she were to discover she was being followed, it would be embarrassing for us," Jilan said, somewhat troubled. Since Lu Ying was a guest, it wasn't appropriate to track her every move. Without concrete evidence of a significant issue, if discovered, it would disgrace the Marquise Manor. Su Yingxue put down her teacup, a bitter taste in her mouth. "That's correct, but I always feel something is off about Lu Ying. This woman is very shrewd and capable, and she's particularly fond of my brother, willing to risk her life. Yet now that my brother and sister Jinyang are getting married, she has shown no reaction, and she has not mentioned a word about her relationship with my brother. It's not in her character, but there's no one close to her to observe." Su Yingxue couldn't help but think of Ziwei, her gaze dimming for a moment. If Ziwei were here, he would be able to detect what's strange about Lu Ying. Jilan eyed her curiously. "Miss, didn't Ziwei go looking for you? You've been back for quite some time now, why didn't Ziwei come back with you?" Jilan had served Su Yingxue for quite a while and it felt unusual to not see Ziwei for so long. Normally silent, Ziwei's presence ensured that Su Yingxue could face any issue without concern. "Ziwei is still here, Lise. His protective instincts were too strong." Su Yingxue laughed. "Ziwei has gotten married, he has a wife now, so naturally he can't be with me every day to protect me." "What? He actually got married?" Jilan's shock nearly made her fall over. "Who could have married Ziwei?" "What do you mean, who could have married him?" Su Yingxue chuckled, quite proud. "My Ziwei is a 1-in-a-million man, it's definitely he who took a wife." "Not at all. Ziwei's heart and eyes have only you, miss. It's just a pity that you're the 9th princess consort. Ziwei can't marry you, so if he has gotten married, it certainly must be that a formidable girl married him. But I can't imagine, what kind of formidable girl would it take to be with him?" In Jilan's moist eyes shone a full desire for knowledge. Su Yingxue tapped her. "What are you talking about? Ziwei is just my guard, how could he possibly want to marry me? Can't Miss see? Ziwei, he really likes." Jilan almost blurted it out, but then remembered Su Yingxue's current status and quickly covered her mouth, swallowing the words she had nearly said. "Ziwei really likes what?" Su Yingxue asked. Nothing at all." Jilan hurriedly shook her head, she definitely couldn't say it. Su Yingxue couldn't see it clearly herself, but as an observer, Jilan could tell that Ziwei, with his cold face and heart, would risk his life to protect Su Yingxue and valued her above anything else. Aside from the one he loved, there was nothing else. Su Yingxue, less observant than Jilan, just mentioned Ziwei and felt herself missing him. I wonder how Ziwei is doing now that He's married. He's so cold. I worry if Yu Lian will one day not be able to stand it and leave him. She truly had the heart of a worried former master. I am here. A breeze passed by, and a black figure landed in front of Su Yingxue. Tall, aloof. Even the purple at the corner of his eyes remained unchanged. Su Yingxue's eyes lit up. Ziwei. He was still by her side, like a shadow. Su Yingxue called out excitedly, but after a moment of excitement, she immediately furrowed her brows, poking Ziwei in the shoulder and chiding, "You are someone's husband now, how can you still keep circling around me? Where is your wife? She must be angry. You'd better hurry back to her side. Wait, since you're here, take a dowry back to her. When you got married in a rush, I, as your master, didn't prepare any dowry for you, and you married the young miss without one. That's an advantage we can't take for free." Su Yingxue said, diving into her storeroom to rummage around. She packed a large chest full of gold, silver, jewels, and deeds for property. From Medicine King Valley, she also gathered some precious medicinal herbs to include in the chest. She pointed at the large chest for Ziwei to see. "Here, take this back to Yu Lian, and say it's the dowry you owe her. No slacking off." Her tone was serious, and Ziwei nodded after listening. "Okay. All right, then hurry back, and from now on, unless you come to Jiangdu City with Yu Lian, do not visit me here. Even if you come to the Marquise Manor, you must bring your wife with you, understand?" Su Yingxue said with the air of a master, serious and assertive. Ziwei answered her seriously, "She is in Jiangdu City. Then you should definitely bring her with you." Su Yingxue admonished him with a stern face. His heart is forever with Su Yingxue Lise. She agrees, "I continue to protect you." Ziwei enunciated each word, with a serious and sincere expression in her eyes. The purple at the corners of her eyes still emitted that same piercing glow. Everything was just as it had always been. Su Yingxue's heart skipped a beat. She agreed. How could this possibly look like something a woman would agree to? Accompanied by Ziwei, Su Yingxue visited Yu Lian's residence in Jiangdu City herself. When Yu Lian saw Su Yingxue arrive with Ziwei and a large box of dowry gifts, she was quite surprised and immediately treated her as an honored guest. After hearing about the matters that needed verification at the Marquise Manor, Yu Lian smiled and said, "If the 9th Princess Consort has a need, my husband can serve you at any time. Do you really not mind? You two are married, yet you still let him work for me." Yu Lian too was an oddity, as unique as Ziwei. On Yu Lian's delicate face, a genuine smile blossomed. The Yu family is a successor to the Qianji sect, and the Qianji sect is a Jianghu sect. People of the Jianghu hold honor and loyalty in the highest regard. Doesn't the 9th Princess Consort understand this? And Ziwei, he is originally your man, so what's the harm? I have some matters to attend to in Jiangdu City myself, and can't accompany my husband every day. It would be good to assist the 9th Princess Consort. Her straightforward speech greatly reassured Su Yingxue. She stood up, bowed to Yu Lian. "With this, I thank Miss Yu Lian for her generous spirit. Once the matter at the Marquise Manor is resolved, I will personally bring Ziwei back to you. If he still shows you a poker face, I'll punch him." As Su Yingxue spoke, she playfully thumped Ziwei lightly. Ziwei pursed her lips, as if to conceal something, not letting Su Yingxue see. However, Yu Lian carefully observed that his lips slightly relaxed, a sign of happiness. He was just afraid of Su Yingxue noticing, that's all. Yu Lian's heart quivered dramatically, but her face showed great joy. "Thank you, 9th Princess Consort. Just, please ensure his safety. His old injuries are severe and he refuses treatment from other doctors. I leave this concern in your good hands." "Certainly," Su Yingxue immediately promised. She had cured the poison in Ziwei's body, but she could guess that, with his years of being an assassin, riddled with suspicion, it would be very difficult for him to accept treatment from strangers. This was just the opportunity for her to fully take care of his health. And then there was that burn scar on his face. Chu Yihan had said that during the blaze at Silver Moon Pavilion, Ziwei had stood right inside, letting the fire sear him, and ended up covered in burns. If she couldn't heal him, she would be restless for the rest of her life. After agreeing with Yu Lian, Su Yingxue took Ziwei and left. Before Ziwei departed, he said to Yu Lian, "Thank you." Yu Lian chuckled lightly, "No need for thanks, as long as you're happy. The 9th Princess Consort is highly skilled in medicine, she will surely heal you. If you ever need anything, feel free to come back to me." "I will," he replied. Ziwei left a trail of his words behind as he quickly vanished. Yu Lian couldn't even keep up with his shadow. She stood under the gallery, the bright moonlight shining on her green dress, setting off her pretty and fair face with radiance. She sighed helplessly, "You really do love her very much." He spoke 2 sentences to her tonight. "Miss, why do you torment yourself? The young master's heart has never been with you. To win his heart, you must cultivate the relationship over time, and make him forget the 9th Princess Consort. By letting him go with her now, what good will come of it? How will he ever focus his affections on you in the future?" Chen Shu, the steward who had raised Yu Lian, shook his head anxiously. Su Hao's wedding date is set, Lise. Yu Lian smiled, her pearly white teeth glinting in the moonlight. "Uncle Chen, ever since the day I was to marry him, I knew his heart could not be brought back, yet what I desire is not his heart, but his happiness." The man beside Su Yingxue was a living Ziwei, not a soulless, walking corpse. She wanted Ziwei to live a happy life, for his happiness was her happiness too. And what was the harm in being by Su Yingxue's side? To be his wife in this lifetime, her wish had already come true. Some can give their hearts and take them back. But for others, like Ziwei, who embedded his heart into Su Yingxue's body, even if Su Yingxue were to die, his heart would not return. How could such a person leave Su Yingxue behind? Su Yingxue sent Ziwei to monitor Lu Ying, as well as the people she contacted. She felt there must be something to gain, but lying in bed, she still couldn't sleep. She thought of Chu Yihan. Women are not allowed in the military camp. So, she could only wait outside the military camp and call Mochi out to ask, "May I see His Highness?" Seeing her look for His Highness, Mochi nodded happily, "Certainly, Princess, just wait, I will go call His Highness, he will definitely hurry over." If Su Yingxue came, even if he were in the midst of a beautiful dream, he would wake up to see her. Wait. At this late hour, His Highness should be resting, right? Su Yingxue saw Mochi's eagerness as if he was going to wake Chu Yihan up. His Highness just fell asleep half an hour ago. These days, he personally checks on the troops, arranges battle plans with his officers, and discusses matters of ascension. He is always running between the Imperial Palace and the military camp, and has lost a lot of weight from exhaustion. "He has just managed to rest today," said Mochi, inadvertently saying too much. Su Yingxue quickly stopped him. "No. Don't disturb His Highness, he'll come back tomorrow. You mustn't wake him. He has worked so hard and has only just rested. If he gets woken up, he won't be able to sleep again, who knows when he will be busy until." Su Yingxue's heart ached for him. "But you haven't seen His Highness for so long." Mochi felt quite troubled, thinking that if Chu Yihan woke up and found out he had missed Su Yingxue because he was sleeping, he would be terribly upset. "I also miss His Highness, but if he ruins his health from exhaustion, how much will that delay? I don't want to hold back His Highness, let him finish his duties. We still have a lifetime to spend together. Don't tell His Highness that I've been here. These tonic medicines you should brew for His Highness to drink, and remember to remind him to rest amidst his busyness." Su Yingxue handed a bundle of medicine she had prepared to Mochi, who nodded. "The princess is thoughtful. But he had one more personal matter to ask about, the medicine I requested. Has the princess made any progress?" Mochi's pitch-black eyes sparkled with anticipation, as eager as a man in the desert longing for water. Su Yingxue nodded. "I have collected some of the herbs, but I am still waiting for Sister Rongsheng's response. I asked her to deliberate and confirm the efficacy before I can give it to you." Mochi, having served Chu Yihan loyally for many years and also treating her well, Su Yingxue naturally had to be extremely cautious and couldn't harm him. Mo Chi grinned with a smile. Thank you, princess. The more excited and expectant he was, the more Su Yingxue could feel how deeply his heart was wounded. The depths of emotional pain must be such that he was so eager to forget, to start anew, right? The wedding date for Su Hao and Wu Jinyang was set. Chu Yihan sent the imperial astronomer to the Marquise Manor, specially choosing the nearest auspicious day, the 18th of March. Xiao Yu is a cultivated old man lease, only half a month remained. Time pressed upon them somewhat, but the Marquise Manor had many hands to make light work. Furthermore, Chu Yihan had dispatched several of the prince's mansion's most capable stewards to come over, led by the head steward. With their help in the Marquise Manor, the wedding preparations naturally progressed much faster. When the head steward and the other stewards reported back in front of Su Yingxue, their faces bore smiles. Princess, rest assured, young General Su's wedding will definitely take place as scheduled and without losing any of the Marquise Manor's dignity. Qin Wan and Madame Yin were also involved in the preparations. Seeing the efficiency of the prince's mansion's people, they felt increasingly at ease. Qin Wan said, "The help from the 9th Prince's mansion has been of great assistance and is an honor for our Marquise Manor." The head steward modestly nodded his head. "Madam flatters us. When the princess' natal family needs assistance, the 9th Prince's mansion will naturally give its full support." Su Qingji was extremely satisfied as well, and he reminded Qin Wan and Madame Yin, "You must treat the people from the prince's mansion with great care and ensure that His Highness does not feel neglected. His Highness has granted great favors to the Marquise Manor." Qin Wan and Madame Yin bowed in unison. "Yes, father." The two of them envied Su Yingxue above all. Madame Yin smiled with narrowed eyes as she looked towards Su Yingxue. "His Highness the 9th Prince's care for you shows a deep and profound affection for our family's 9th Princess consort. Auntie, you are teasing me on purpose. It's been so long since I last saw His Highness." Su Yingxue pouted, feeling sour. Had it not been for grandfather's warning that she must not rashly enter the military camp, and with Chu Yihan being too busy to even touch the ground, she would have rushed to his side long ago. Though sister and brother-in-law have not met, brother-in-law's heart has not spent a moment away from sister. Su Miaoyan laughed crisply. "You cheeky girl, itching for a spanking, aren't you? You haven't copied any texts for quite some time, and just yesterday you were playing in Cheline Garden." Su Yingxue purposely drew out her tone, her eyes hiding a hint of mischief. Su Miaoyan quickly hopped over to her and pulled her away. Sister Han asked us to go taste test the dishes. Let's hurry." The two of them scurried off at a run, disappearing in no time, leaving the elders in the hall smiling at their playful antics. Su Yingxue stood in the small corner outside the kitchen, humming lightly, feeling so guilty. "What naughty thing have you been up to with your handsome brother Xiao Yu? You're the naughty one. Xiao Yu would never do anything bad to me. He's the most handsome and the best man." Su Miaoyan's little mouth pouted sky high, and her proud expression seemed to place Xiao Yu above all else. In just a few days, handsome brother has become Xiao Yu, and now he is also the best man? Su Miaoyan, you haven't even come of age yet, aren't you ashamed? Xiao Yu, an old man over a decade older than you must have been fooled by him. Su Yingxue fumed at the thought, rolling up her sleeves as if she wanted to go beat Xiao Yu up. On the surface, he was doing business with her, but behind the scenes, he was scheming after her little sister. He truly was a wolf in sheep's clothing, that dog of a man. I haven't been fooled by him. Xiao Yu just often takes me to Cheline Garden for fun. He's handsome, knowledgeable and generous. Being with him, even reading doesn't feel so dull, Su Miaoyan defended, her bun-like face peachy pink as blossoms, growing even rosier as she spoke of Xiao Yu. Su Yingxue felt as if she was seeing her own foolish self infatuated with Chu Chengye back in the day. She smacked Su Miaoyan's head firmly. "Wake up. Xiao Yu is an old man who has honed his skills to perfection. Even when I do business with him, I have to be careful. What about you?" It wasn't that she looked down on Su Miaoyan. The young girl was full of spirit and cleverness. Negotiating terms with Su Yingxue lease, small in stature but devilishly clever, and full of wisdom too. But what kind of man is Xiao Yu? He climbed to the position of head of the Xiao family by stepping over countless corpses. A man like that, he could swallow Su Miaoyan whole and not even spit out the bones, and Su Miaoyan would still be counting money for him in the netherworld. Su Yingxue didn't want her to be deceived and manipulated, so she advised her, it's one thing to have a crush, but don't set your sights on becoming the young madam of the Xiao family. The vortex in the Xiao family is dirtier than the imperial palace, and I wouldn't lie to you, sister. So sister means the imperial palace is also a vortex, filthy to the core. Once your highness ascends the throne, sister will be part of the imperial palace, sitting right atop the vortex. With a powerful sister like you, prancing into the Xiao family's vortex shouldn't be too much of a problem for me, right? Su Miaoyan was quick to respond, effortlessly refuting Su Yingxue's points one by one. Su Yingxue was taken aback. Did Xiao Yu teach you to say that? Brother Yu doesn't teach these things, he only teaches me to eat, drink, and be merry, and he made sure I got my reading done too. He says girls should read more, understand more, and gain wisdom from experience, which is why he encouraged me to read more and experience more. The more I do, the more I realize how sensible and formidable he is, she said. Admiration and reverence for Xiao Yu shone in Su Miaoyan's eyes. Besides that, a slight blush on her cheeks betrayed her obvious crush on him. A young girl's admiration for a hero, aspiring to marry him, Su Yingxue understood this emotional journey all too well. She bit her lip, unable to deny that she could no longer stop what was happening. Su Miaoyan was already being groomed by Xiao Yu, growing wildly. But wasn't Xiao Yu just a bit too detestable? In the Qilin garden, Su Yingxue sat before Xiao Yu, accusing him of his shamelessness. Xiao Yu, that bratty Su Miaoyan is only 14, and you, a 26-year-old man, are eyeing her and even laying hands on her. Don't you have a conscience? Can you even sleep at night? I sleep well. Xiao Yu's desk held an account book and an abacus. Clad in a blue robe with embroidered cloud patterns, his whole demeanor was elegant and refined, his handsome face calm and composed. With a slight smile on his lips, he answered Su Yingxue, I sleep very well at night, 9th Princess Consort need not worry. As for the matter of conscience, if I remember correctly, the 9th prince is a full 13 years older than the princess. Considering the time when your highness and the prince became betrothed, you were but a 3-year-old child. If talking about a guilty conscience, it would seem the 9th prince has more to answer for. Shut up. Dare to speak of his highness, and I will slash you, believe it or not. Su Yingxue's hand rested on her red jade soft whip, looking ferocious. Princess, please calm your anger. My young master meant no disrespect to the 9th prince. But as matters currently stand, the Tongchang Medical Center's new branch in Jiangdu City has been in trial operation for quite a while and is doing very well. Saint Juan has even started to personally train female physicians, and around the outskirts of Jiangdu City, branches of Tongchang Medical Center are gradually opening up as well. Considering how the clinic is flourishing, perhaps the Princess Consort could refrain from obstructing my young master's affair with Miss Miaoyan, Xiao Sai said with a sly smile beside Xiao Yu. Su Yingxue almost choked. Xiao Yu, you old fox, did you have this calculated all along? Is this his scheme to use the clinic's success to dissuade her from intervening with Su Miaoyan? Truly cunning. Utterly despicable. After tallying a sum, Xiao Yu turned a page, sparing a moment to look up. His picturesque features shifted slightly. If the Princess Consort doesn't care, we could simply break the contract. The compensation shouldn't be a huge amount for your highness. If the contract is dissolved, the clinic would just no longer be able to open chains, that's all. The careful Su Hao Lise, Xiao Yu had Xiao Sai hand the account book to Su Yingxue, causing her eyes to bulge. Millions of taels of silver. Could she afford to pay that? Pa. It was enough to bankrupt her. But even bankruptcy was not the end. Xiao Yu would certainly have more tricks up his sleeve. Chu Yihan was about to go to war with Qi State, and there would be many needs along the way for military provisions and transportations that would require Xiao family's assistance. Would Xiao Yu behave if he couldn't be with Su Miaoyan? As if that were possible. The bastard had been scheming from the start. Su Yingxue was disgusted with his actions, but on second thought, a smirk curled her lips. Xiao Yu, as the head of the Xiao family, such a deep strategist, you've gone to great lengths to marry my sister. It shows, you are deeply in love. If you cherish our little girl that much, the Marquise Manor has nothing against it, except what? Xiao Yu's hasty reply betrayed a hint of impatience. By the time he realized Su Yingxue was probing, it was already a step too late. His eyes slightly lowered. Never mind. It was too late to take it back. Su Yingxue, satisfied, curled her lip and walked up to him, placed a hand on his account book, and spoke with profound eyes. Except, Su Miaoyan is a delicate girl, our manor can pamper her, but if she feels aggrieved in the Xiao family and cries all the way home, Xiao Yu, wouldn't you like to see what the Su family, which has produced generals for generations, looks like when they get angry? Quite the threat. The Defender General has been a legacy passed down in the Su family for generations. After Su Qingji, Su Dingwei became the great general, and in the next generation, Su Hao also became an outstanding young general. With such a powerful backing as the Su family, Su Miaoyan would be well supported. If he took Su Miaoyan back to the Xiao family and she ended up aggrieved, it would not bode well for him. Xiao Yu curled his lip. The Su family won't have that chance. Such confidence, young Master Xiao. Confidence is simply the reality. Su Yingxue chuckled and left. Xiao Yu had made her a promise. He would do everything in his power for Su Miaoyan, that young girl. Even Xiao Sai could see that. He stood beside Xiao Yu, quite nervous. Young master, you seemed too eager, revealing your hand. Xiao Yu wore a thick mask in the presence of anyone, indifferent and cold, even his confidant would not fully grasp his thoughts. But this time, Xiao Yu was eager to show his bottom line in front of Su Yingxue. In his heart, Xiao Yu regretted it, but the moment Su Miaoyan's beaming smile surfaced in his mind, he was at peace, and even his tone softened. She already knows, there's no use in regretting it now. Hereafter, he would protect Su Miaoyan well, keeping her as adorable as she always was. Always as brave and fearless as the first time she saw him, calling him handsome brother, innocent and naive. Tomorrow was Su Hao and Wu Jinyan's wedding day. That night, Su Hao lay wide awake with excitement, so he decided to check his courtyard to make sure everything was in order. From the large front door of the manor, he checked up to the front hall, the place for the wedding ceremony, and back to the bridal chamber. He touched the bed, eyeing the red dates, longans, and copper coins on it, his handsome eyebrows tightening. Do all these have to be laid out on the bed? Jinyang will be waiting in the bridal chamber for quite some time. Sitting like this, it seems rather uncomfortable. Beside him, Shu Yang quoted cluelessly, "Young master, the wedding matron said these must not be removed, they're old customs. They wish the young master and young madam to have offspring soon." Hes cruel, she's obsessed Lise. Yanga is already pregnant, so there's no need for these things, right? Su Hao didn't avoid mentioning Wu Jinyan's pregnancy and directly brought it up. Shu Yang covered her mouth to stifle her laughter. The young master really has a broad mind. Do you and the young madam only want one child? Master probably won't agree to that. The matter of having children can be addressed later. For now, I just feel these items will press against Yanga and make her uncomfortable. Better to clear them away, Su Hao insisted. Unable to persuade Su Hao, Shu Yang had no choice but to go fetch the 11 Po. The 11 Po was one of the older generation of servants in the Su family. Despite cajoling from Su Hao, he refused to keep these items, and it was their debate that disturbed Lu Ying outside. She walked in and after hearing the discussion, informed Su Hao, "These are ancient customs. If these are absent, those who come to make noise in the bridal chamber will say that the Marquise Manor lacks propriety. The Marquise Manor is already under criticism because of Miss Was pregnancy. If we proceed like this..." Lu Ying didn't finish her sentence, but her point was made clear. The 11 Po, afraid of Su Hao's stubborn streak, quickly interjected, Right. We can't let people criticize our Marquise Manor for lack of etiquette. Young master, please don't be stubborn. It would only inconvenience the young madam for a couple of hours, it's harmless. Su Hao, with pursed lips, instructed the 11 Po, remove these things. If anything happens, I will take responsibility. I need to speak with Miss Lu. Upon my return, I expect to see a clean and tidy bed, without anything that could press against Yang. Though Su Hao's words were not harsh, the sternness on his face when he got serious carried an unmistakable decisiveness akin to that on the battlefield, which frightened the 11 Po into quickly starting to clear away the items. This scene caused Lu Ying's heart to feel extremely uneasy. When he walked out with Lu Ying, Su Hao expressed his concern for her. "How is the wound on your body?" "It's nothing serious, not fatal." Recalling how carefully he had just treated Wu Jinyang and then reflecting on the indifferent tone he used with her, Lu Ying's heart was aflame with a jealous rage. "Lu Ying." His voice deepened. "These days have been busy with wedding preparations, and I have neglected you. That was my oversight. But we need to resolve the matter between us." Lu Ying felt somewhat guilty, and without turning to face Su Hao, she asked, "How do you want to resolve it?" It couldn't possibly be because of a guilty conscience, wanting to marry her off with an additional dowry, could it? Old General Su had already discussed this with her and her father before. She was near madness. Su Hao said in a low voice, "If you are willing, I can marry you." "What did you say?" Completely taken aback, Lu Ying turned to face him, forgetting to mask her expression. Shock struck right at her heart. The night before his marriage to Wu Jinyang, he actually said he was willing to marry her. "But, you could only be my concubine, and after marrying you, I wouldn't enter your courtyard again, nor would we have children. In the future, you must not trouble Yang. As the mistress of the house, she would treat you well," he continued. As excited as the previous sentence made Lu Ying, the following words hit her with equal force, cutting her heart open like a bladed knife. Her voice trembled in her ears. "You mean I'm only worthy of being a concubine? An insignificant one at that, doomed to be alone for a lifetime? To watch his love with Wu Jinyang while she licked her wounds alone during countless lonely nights? They really knew how to humiliate a person. Yes, if you insist on marrying me, this is the only way I can treat you. It's extremely unfair to you, which is why I don't want to hold you back." Su Hao's eyes deep like an endless starry sea. Even as he was cruel to her, Lu Ying's eyes still displayed her infatuation for him. Lu Ying's struggle lease, but Lu Ying couldn't help feeling the irony. "So, you never really intended to marry me, not even as your concubine, you just wanted to marry me off, all to avoid disgracing the Marquise manor, right?" Su Hao calmly admitted, "That's correct." "Su Hao, how can you be so heartless towards me? Have you forgotten our intimate encounter?" Lu Ying screamed hysterically, believing that Su Hao, being such an outstanding and responsible man, would definitely marry her after he fell into her trap and they shared physical intimacy. Regardless of how unsuccessful her efforts were to drive a wedge between him and Wu Jinyang, as long as she became his, surely he would give her a status and marry her. Yet he came up with such a method, to take her as a concubine, in name only, forcing her to leave him with her pride and self-respect in tatters. How wishful thinking. It must be Wu Jinyang who made you say this, right? It's no wonder she's going to be the young madam of the Marquise manor, such a vicious mind. Lu Ying's gaze was fierce, wishing she could kill Wu Jinyang right then and there. Su Hao rebuked coldly, "Stop slandering Yang. Say one more word, and I will not be polite to you." His tone was grave, showing no mercy to Lu Ying, as if he would strike her if she spoke another word. "How will you not be polite to me? On the eve of your grand wedding, will you heartlessly drive out the woman who shared intimacy with you, who should have been your wife, from the Marquise manor?" Lu Ying's eyes were red, full of unwillingness and resentment. Lu Ying. Confronted with her hysteria, Su Hao was exceptionally calm. "You and I did share intimacy, but have you forgotten the circumstances of that night?" Lu Ying's agitated heart suddenly trembled violently. She panicked at the thought. Could it be that Su Hao already knew the truth about that night, that the woman he took was not her but Wu Jinyang? No. Impossible. Neither of them could possibly know about it. Only she knew. Only she and Xianju knew. Lu Ying clenched her fists tightly behind her back, her tearful eyes staring at Su Hao. "That night, you took my body and made me your woman, just like that. Su Hao, are you still trying to deny it? As a young general, do you want to pretend as if nothing happened?" "I will not deny it." If you refuse to be married off and instead insist on marrying into the Marquise Manor as my concubine, I will not refuse. But that night, I told you I was already betrothed. Despite that, you drank with me until late. Now that I think about it, whether there was something wrong with the wine that night is an open question. His eyes, clear and sharp, held suspicion, and Lu Ying's gaze widened, showing a mixture of hurt and disbelief. In fact, she felt slightly relieved. Su Hao had not realized that the person he was forced upon was Wu Jinyang. He was merely suspicious that she had drugged his wine. Of course, she had drugged him. Otherwise, how could Su Hao have been so out of sorts? But she would never admit it. Su Hao, if you were a man without responsibility, you would not need to keep me in the Marquise Manor. I will go and bid farewell to old General Su right now, but the purity of Lu Ying, was ruined by your hands. That fact can't be changed by anyone, even if you are to marry Wu Jinyang. You, Su Hao, still have a responsibility towards me, Lu Ying. Lu Ying put on a stubborn, choking demeanor that was somewhat pitiable. Su Hao's probing seemed not to yield the answer he was seeking. When Lu Ying turned to leave, he stopped her. Wait. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.